Today, we are taking you inside the real-world training of our future healthcare professionals. And we're not talking about a polished brochure here. This is the real deal. Let's jump right in.
So get this, our guide for this explainer is something you almost never get to see. We're working from the actual personal course notes of a faculty director at the University of California, San Francisco. These are the director's own notes, giving us this incredibly raw, unfiltered look into a service learning program. It's a program that puts students right on the front lines as patient navigators. And just to be clear, there's no sensitive patient information in here. This is all about the educational process.
We're going to follow the student's journey through 6 key stages. We'll start with an inside look at the program itself, then see how they recruit for the mission. After that, we'll dive into the actual craft they have to learn and the real-world hurdles they face. Then we'll look at the special culture that helps them succeed. And finally, we'll see their transformation into professionals. So what is this program really about? Well, at its core, it's about immersion. Students aren't just sitting in a lecture hall reading about healthcare. No, they become a truly vital part of it, working as patient navigators within the UCSF health system and even earning course credit while they do it. The whole thing is built on this idea of service learning. And what does that mean? It really boils down to learning by doing. The students are actively taking part in a service that meets a genuine community need. In this case, helping real patients find their way through the often confusing maze of the healthcare system. And this quote right here from the program's website, it just perfectly sums up the whole mission. You see, it's a dual purpose. The goal isn't just to help patients feel confident and supported. It's also to help students grow into future health professionals through that very active service. It's this amazing two-way street. Okay, so if you have a mission this important, how do you find the right people for the job? It's not just about getting the best grades, not even close. The program is looking for some very specific qualities that go way deeper than a transcript. And when you look at the director's recruitment notes, it's fascinating. Of course, they want people who are service-oriented and humble, but they're also looking for really practical skills, like being tech-savvy and having clear enunciation for patient calls. And just as important, they look for students with strong follow-through who aren't totally overcommitted, so they can actually focus on this demanding role. Now, this part is absolutely crucial to their strategy. The program goes out of its way to recruit interns whose own backgrounds mirror the incredibly diverse patient community they serve. Having students who are multilingual isn't just a nice little bonus, it is essential for building trust and making sure nothing gets lost in translation. So, a student gets accepted. Now what? Well, the training begins, and it's not just about learning where the different clinics are. Before they can navigate a single patient, they have to master a very specific, highly structured way of communicating. This method is called the SLCT process. Think of it as a specialized tool. It's a precise 4-step framework that's designed to do 2 things really, really well. First, make the patient feel completely and totally heard. And second, make sure their concerns are documented perfectly for the clinical team. Let's break this down because it's pretty brilliant. Step 1 is scribing. The student just listens and writes down the patient's story in their own words. Step 2 is laddering. Here they go back and ask clarifying questions to dig deeper into anything that was vague. Step 3 is checking. They use a literal checklist to make sure all the important topics got covered. And finally, step 4 is triaging, taking everything they learned and organizing it, prioritizing the biggest concerns for the medical team. But you know, mastering this is way harder than it sounds. This reflection from an actual student's notes really shows the struggle. They realized they were asking leading questions and even letting their personal bias slip in by saying, "That's a good question." It takes a ton of self-awareness to get this right. And now we get to the real world. Because let's be honest, no amount of training can prepare you for everything. The deepest learning really happens when these students come face to face with the messy, unpredictable, and chaotic reality of everyday healthcare. And I mean, the hurdles pop up constantly.
This list of tech problems is pulled right from the program's actual chat logs. Jabber crashing, headset not working, login failures, getting kicked out of Zoom, Wi-Fi issues, VPN problems. It's this non-stop barrage of little things going wrong that they have to solve on the fly.
But honestly, those tech issues are just the warm-up act. The much bigger challenge, the one that really tests them, is navigating the deeply human and often heartbreaking concerns of the patients themselves. I mean, just look at these questions. These are based on real, anonymized patient interactions from the course notes. Students are fielding these incredibly profound questions about chemotherapy, about financial fears, about being divorced and alone through an illness. This is the real weight that they learn to carry. So, with all this chaos, all this complexity, how does the whole program not just grind to a halt? How do these students not just survive, but actually thrive? Well, the secret is in the culture. It's a specific way of thinking that's designed to handle the fact that things will go wrong. This quote from the director's notes just says it all. It perfectly captures the feeling. It's an environment of constant change and improvement. They are literally designing and fixing the system while it's in full flight. The program actually models itself after what's called a high reliability organization, or an HRO. It's a concept that comes from places like aviation or nuclear power, industries where even a tiny mistake can lead to disaster. The whole idea is to build systems that expect failure and are resilient to it. And this is the key mindset shift. They don't expect perfection. In fact, they expect errors to happen. The entire culture is built around one thing: spotting mistakes early, containing the damage, and, most importantly, recovering and learning from them. Every single error is seen as a lesson, not some failure you have to hide. And all of this brings us to the final stage of their journey, the payoff. This is where we see how this intense, real-world boot camp really transforms students and gives them skills that they'll carry with them for their entire careers. I just love this quote. It shows this beautiful cycle of mentorship that develops. You have a student reflecting on the moment they got to train a new intern. They call it a full circle moment, passing the torch. They become the leaders. And here it is. This is the ultimate proof that the program works. This is a quote from a program alum who's now in a clinical role. They're still using that SLCT communication process. They draw a direct line from the skills they learned talking to a stressed patient to how they now reassure a nervous patient before surgery. The training sticks. And that leaves us with this one big final thought. This program is a powerful model for an education that is just so deeply embedded in real service and real life. So you have to wonder, what if all healthcare education was this real? What would that change for the next generation of caregivers? And really, for all of us?